So there's this IT consultant. One day on the job, he's driving around between clients, gets hit by a bus, horrible car accident. Unfortunately, he dies. Once he gets to heaven, he sees all these like banners and streamers and confetti and cakes and congratulations sign. There's this giant party, and he has no idea what's going on. St. Peter comes up to him. He's like, "Congratulations, sir. You are the longest living human in history. You live to be 157 years old." And the consultant's like, "What are you talking about? I'm 36. I just died in a car accident." And St. Peter looks really confused. And he looks down at his clipboard. He's like, "Well, that makes no sense. I mean, we added up your timesheets." Hey kids, Adam here. Today's video, actually before we start today's video, at the time of this recording, I am at 94 subscribers. I would really like to get to the 100 mark and more. At the 100th subscriber, I'm going to do a live stream special. Probably going to be doing a mix review, might be recording some bass for a new track. We'll see where that goes, but if you could do me a favor, hit that subscribe button below. Normally I ask this at the end of the video, but now I want to do this before I forget. So hit subscribe. Join me on my journey to 1 billion subscribers. On to the video now. So have you ever had a vocal that just kind of doesn't sit on top of the mix like you'd want it to? This is kind of especially with like pop and rock vocals, where you want that vocal, instead of blending in, you want it to really sit on top and ride over the music. Let's say you have it EQ'd well, you have it compressed well, there's no real issues there. You have some reverb, maybe you have a delay on there, and it sounds really good. It just doesn't cut through. Let me show you what I call my VOX Air trick. Now, full disclosure, I did kind of rip this off from Graham Cochran over at therecordingrevolution.com. Highly recommend you going over and checking out his site. He has some great stuff. He is really what got me into mixing and really focusing on it as a craft rather than something I just screw around with. So let's head on over to Reaper. I will show you what I'm talking about. All right, here we are in Reaper. This is my band Underground Hive's song Breakaway. Ray, the keyboardist, is singing on this song. The other songs you've heard kind of have the deeper voice of Dylan. He has more of like that crooner voice. Ray has more like the falsetto, Robin Thicke, Earth, Wind and Fire 70s kind of sound. And a lot of the times in that kind of vocal, it's hard to get it to cut through. He's using a lot of falsetto. There's not as much power there as there is in stronger sung vocals, but just the frequencies, it's hard to get it. You would think a higher frequency would cut through better. A lot of times that's the opposite. A lot of times they get lost in the wash of like snare drum overheads, guitars and things. You just kind of lose that definition. Let me play it for you. This is the first verse here without any of the effects that I'm talking about for the VOX Air. And before I show you what's in the VOX Air, let me just play it so you see what we're talking about.
You are so beautiful. Can't keep my eyes off of you. You are so wonderful. Don't know what I'm gonna do.
Now the first thing you hear is it's a little bit louder. It's maybe 3 dB louder. I could have brought the original up, but I found that it's still, even with just volume, it's not cutting through. This VOX Air is really the trick. Let me go show you what is on the VOX Air channel. So what I do is I create all my sends over to the right side of the project for all the instrument side of things. I make them red and I put all tracks in caps. That way I just set them apart from everything else. Let me show you all the plugins on this channel here. So I start out with the Waves Aural Exciter. This is a harmonic enhancer. And what this will do, this will add harmonics that are inherently found in the song, in the sound, so that I can accentuate those with EQ later. Next, I hit it with the 1073 plugin. I hit this high band and I use 11.5 dB, and this is a 12K high shelf. After that, the Waves OneKnob Brighter, and this does exactly what you expect it to do. It's one knob and it makes things brighter. I usually start at around 3 or so, and I just kind of crank it up until it sounds good. Next is a free plugin by Variety of Sound called Ferric TDS. It's a saturation plugin, and I just take this saturation knob and I crank it all the way up. You could probably use JS saturation built into Reaper and get a very similar effect. With 1176 compressor, I'm doing anywhere from 7 to 10 dB of gain reduction. And what I really want to do is I want to tame those high peaks that come out of this. I don't want it to have a almost like a whistle or a hiss added to it. I just want to kind of tame those down. So let me play you just the VOX Air track. So this is just the send, which will have a copy of the vocal after effects with all the highs on there.
You are so beautiful. Can't keep my eyes off of you.
And you can hear there's no body to it. That's just complete top end. By itself, it's not really useful. But when you blend it in, that is when you get this effect that can keep your body of your vocals and also add this air. I do that by a send. There's a number of ways you can do it. You can drag this route button over to another track. You can click on one of these empty spaces here and do add send, or you can click on the route button itself and do the same thing. Click add send, scroll down to your send, click on it, and it'll add that to it. Let me play you before and after just a couple times.
You are so beautiful. Can't keep my eyes off of you. You are so wonderful. Don't know what I'm gonna do.
And you can really tell when it's on, it really cuts through and it really helps. I use this for a lot of different things. I've used it for like tambourine. I've used it for overheads. Be careful if you use it for overheads. You want to use a very, very small amount. Things like bongos and percussions, claps work really well with it. I used it in my last video for that telephone echo effect, just to give a little bit more and more brightness and more sticking out. Let me show you another way you can do this. There is this free plugin called Lifticus. It is a Mag EQ4 emulator. This is free. I'll see if I can put a description for it and the Ferric TDS put a link in the description for both these plugins. This one has kind of this magic high, and I think they call it an air band on the physical hardware equipment and the official plugin. This one's free. It's not $900 or whatever the piece of hardware is. There's a 10K, 20K, and 40K high boost band. Now 40K and 20K, you almost can't hear that with the human ear, but because it's a shelf, it's really taking a lot of those frequencies you can hear and mixing those in. Let me show you this off and on. I've kind of dialed it in. I think the 10K band works best here, although back and forth to the 10 and 20K, it's hard to tell. And I've put a lot on this. I put 7 dB. Normally you want to put 2 or 3 on there, but I think for raised vocal, it needs more. So let me do before and after.
You are so beautiful. Can't keep my eyes off of you. You are so wonderful. Don't know what I'm gonna do.
So you'll notice if you listen really carefully, you'll need earbuds, really good quality monitors or headphones or something. You can hear a lot of hiss in there. And that's one thing that the VOX Air track doesn't really add because of both the exciter and the compressor at the end and the saturation to kind of tame it out. You could add some of those things here. I just find I like doing it on a send much better. I may play around with this plugin on the send track in the future, but for now, I think I'm going to keep the vocal send. But here's another way to do it if you're interested. So that's it. That's the VOX Air trick. Hope you found this useful. Hope you can use this in some of your mixes. I'm not exactly sure if this could cover all musical styles. If you're doing like a growly death metal style, I don't think there's really a place for this here. But there's a lot of different applications for this track. Just because I call it vocal air, like I said before, you don't have to use it on vocals. I use it on clapping sounds, percussion, bongos works really well. Overheads, if you do it, like I said, very, very little because your cymbals will wash out on you before long. So that's it. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe. Help us get to the 100 subscriber mark. Click the little bell thingy to get notified. And if you want to help me further, there's a link down below to buy me a Coke. Until next time, have a great week. Hey kids, Adam here, and today we are teaching poodles how to fly. Wait, no, that's something else.